Iran is convulsing again, and the unsettling part is that we have seen this pattern before. Protest, repression, economic pressure, water stress, a government insisting it has everything under control, while behaving exactly like governments do when they don't. The last time Iran reached a breaking point like this, it didn't produce a reform bill or a cabinet reshuffle. It produced 1979, a revolution that reshaped the Middle East and still defines global politics today. So here's the promise of this video. I'm not going to give you hot takes. I'm going to give you a map. We're going to look at what's happening now in Iran and what happened in 1979. What actually happened, why it happened, and how it unfolded. And then we'll return to present and ask the only question that really matters. Are we watching history repeat itself, or are we watching something fundamentally different? To understand Iran, you have to start with this idea. Iran is not just a country, it is a civilization, and that changes how politics works. Ancient Persia wasn't just the past, it was empires, trade routes, poetry, law, architecture, a society that remembers being powerful. That memory matters because every Iranian government justifies itself by telling a story about what Iran is supposed to be. The Shah told a story of greatness through monarchy, modernization, and alignment with the West. The Islamic Republic tells a story of resistance, faith, and rejection of foreign domination. Same deep national pride, different mythology. Now here's where Western audiences often get confused. From the outside, 1979 looks like a society choosing to go backwards, rejecting modernity, rejecting progress, rejecting freedom. But that's not what most Iranians experienced. They didn't feel like they were moving backwards, they felt like they were reclaiming dignity. To understand why, you need one word: humiliation. Modern Iranian politics is shaped by a deep belief that foreign powers repeatedly interfered in Iran's destiny, especially over oil. If you remember one day before 1979, remember 1953. That was the year the democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh was removed after he moved to nationalize Iranian oil. The long-term damage wasn't just regime change, it was psychological, and embedded a lesson into political memory. Sovereignty, oil, and foreign interference are inseparable. So when the Shah later presented modernization, Western clothing, Western alliances, Western economic models, many Iranians didn't see progress. They saw dependence. They saw loss of control. They saw a country being reshaped without their consent. And here's the critical mistake the Shah made. He modernized infrastructure, but not legitimacy. You can modernize roads, cities, universities, and industry, but if people don't feel represented, respected, or heard, you're building a sleek modern car without a steering wheel. The Shah didn't fall because he modernized, he fell because he modernized without consent of the people, and then tried to govern through fear. His reforms produced real change, but political opposition was tightly controlled. Security services became synonymous with terror. As society became more educated and urbanized, more people began asking the same questions. Who chose this path? Who benefits from it? And why can't we speak freely without consequences? This is how revolutions actually work. A revolution is a coalition until it becomes a purge. Revolutions don't require agreement about the future. They only require a large enough coalition to agree on what must end. That's what happened in 1979. Students, bazaar merchants, secular leftists, clerics, groups that deeply dislike one another, unified by a single phrase: the Shah must go. Here's how revolutions accelerate: protest, repression, funerals, bigger protests, strikes, economic paralysis. The regime progresses, retreats, and then represses again, signaling panic and weakness at the same time. And then one ingredient transforms unrest into a synchronized national wave, a unifying symbol. Khomeini became the vessel for a collective no, not because everyone agreed with him, but because he allowed millions to direct their anger in one direction. This is the part that should unsettle you. After the unifying no succeeds, the coalition fractures, and the group with the strongest organization, the clearest discipline, and the best ability to enforce order usually wins. 1979 is two stories: the fall of the Shah and the birth of a new power system. So why did the Islamic Republic survive when the Shah system collapsed? Because it solved the legitimacy problem. Even as it created the new forms of repression, the Islamic Republic fused identity, faith, nationalism, and resistance into a single narrative. It didn't just govern territory, it embedded itself into daily life, institutions, security forces, and ideology. It built redundancy into power. So now let's return to the present. Today is not a replay of 1979, it's a stress test with more variables: economic pressure, corruption, infrastructure, decay, water scarcity, political legitimacy, external confrontation. When pressures stack, systems don't need a catastrophic catastrophic blow. They just need enough cracks. Economic pain is one of the most democratic pressures there is. When democracy collapses, everything becomes a daily negotiation: food, rent, fuel, medicine. People don't need ideological agreement to recognize that life is getting harder, and governments often make the same mistake. They prioritize image over reality. That is not just frustrating, it's destabilizing. Corruption turns hardship into moral outrage. People will tolerate sacrifice if it's shared. They will not tolerate feeling like the system protects insiders and ordinary people pay the bill. And then there's the issue many analysts treat as secondary until it becomes central: water. Water crises don't just cause thirst, they cause internal migration, unemployment, public health breakdowns, and resource conflict. In a fragile economy, water stress is like adding weight to someone who's already drowning. So the real question isn't, are there protests? Iran has had protests before. The question is, can it absorb them without fracturing? Every cycle leaves residue: anger, fear, experience. People learn, the state learns. It becomes a contest of endurance. Now here's a comparison that matters most: 1979 versus today. In both cases, the trigger isn't just hardship, it's the feeling that hardship is unnecessary, unjust, or humiliating. People can endure pain, they can't endure humiliation. The current system was designed to survive what destroyed the Shah. It has deeper internal architecture, more resilient security structures, greater ideological redundancy. A regime collapses when the streets, the elites, the security forces stop moving in sync. In 1979, a broad coalition synchronized around a symbol. Today, anger can be massive and still fragmented. Different groups, different visions, different end goals. Unity isn't agreement, it's coordination. And the most underestimated factor isn't slogans, it strikes. A regime can survive protest, it struggles to survive paralysis. When workers stop working, bazaars close, transport slows, power feels it. So will Iran collapse? Predictions are cheap. I won't predict headlines, but watch the conditions: visible elite fractures, sustained strike capacity, unified opposition messaging, security force defections, and a triggering event that collapses fear. 1 signal is news, 2 or 3 is history forming, 4, you're no longer watching politics, you're watching a transition. The most dangerous moment isn't when a regime is strong, it's when it's weak and cornered, because internal instability colliding with external pressure doesn't produce clean outcomes, it produces chaos. And the final uncomfortable lesson of 1979 is this: people rarely realize they're living through a turning point until it's already passed. That's what we may be seeing now. Not the same movie as 1979, but the same genre: legitimacy, survival, identity, power. This is Crucial Conversations. This is Brent. I'll see you next time.